Yo, let's see if I can roadblock him. Yeah. Oh, shit!
We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party, flyer than everybody.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Carbon, and today I want to talk about some ideas that can make Blackout better. And this stems from, if you guys remember back in February, Activision president said that on February 19th, they were going to have the biggest content release for Black Ops 4. On February 19th, that was Operation Grand Heist. And that kind of makes you think, is that the end? Is that the best we're going to get until the next Call of Duty? I don't believe so. And it just kind of throws me off because that February 19th update, the biggest content drop ever on Black Ops 4, only came with 2 weapons, 2 map variants, a paid event, and squads only Alcatraz. We were promised Ambush 2.0, but we never even got that. Now, that's a whole nother topic. But I think that there are some simple ideas and some huge ideas that can make Blackout a bit better. And I have about, I don't know, 10 of them or so that I'd like to just talk about. If you guys have any ideas that can make them better, please leave them in the comments. I'd like to make more videos like this to get really creative, you know? And the first one I have is trains. Alright, hear me out on this. Grand Theft Auto, they have a train that goes around their big-ass map, and it just keeps moving and moving and moving. Blackout has, if you guys see, Blackout has, you know, train tracks, a lot of different places, and I think they could add more around, but if they can just make a train that just constantly moves around the map and can be switched tracks, because near train station, they do have switches on the tracks, so that would actually, you know, make trains decide which track they were going to be on. And I think as the circle closes, it can start staying on tracks that are more within the circle, can go sometimes out but back in. But I think this could add for different ways for people to get around the map. Right now, it is so sad to see people wanting to land on the outsides of the map. Like Hydro Dam, that place has an amazing amount of loot. It really does. And so does, you know, the new drops, the, you know, construction, and then, you know, all the other places on the outside like cargo. Nobody wants to go to these places because chances are they're not going to have much time to loot, and they're going to have to just make their way to the middle. But if they had more ways to move around besides just vehicles, I believe it could be a lot more fun to land a lot of these places and get a lot more variety within the game. So you can have the switchable tracks. Your team can be on the track. You can jump off with any time. I don't believe that these trains should just stop. I believe they should just keep going round and round. I think it'd be interesting, but that's not the only thing I think that could be added for ways to move around the map. I also think that we could add Ziplines. Yeah, I get that that's in other games, but it's a great idea. There are so many places in Blackout that have high points. Not even just the mountains and the cliffs and the outer edges. There's also, you know, the cranes at cargo, the sheer height of construction alone, the different towers and smokestacks, and the different, you know, there's a lot of different places that you can put these zip lines, and it's just more ways to get across the map faster. We need stuff like that. And I was also thinking maybe on the side of traveling through places, what about an underwater type like scuba equipment that can be put within your backpack? Think about it. You know those people that scuba dive, they have those little like propeller that they carry, and it helps them go, like, move throughout the water without having to, like, you know, kick your legs so much, just like a self-propelled. And I believe it could be like a piece of equipment that you can have, kind of like the RCXD, but once you use it, you kind of just swim underwater, and then, you know, you kind of want to find your iron lungs, and this could be a great way to move, you know, through different water streams in the ocean and to sneak up on different things. And that kind of, it'd be kind of neat idea to, like, make your way to Hijacked or somewhere, or the boat area near Rivertown, and just come up and not be heard, especially if you have dead silence, which is one thing I think should be fixed as well. Dead silence does not work in the water, and water splashing is way too loud. It really is. It's so loud. Like, a lot of the times in these games you have to cross the water. You do. There's multiple different paths. Maybe sometimes you have to get to Nuketown. Maybe you have to, you know, there's Death Island, which is basically between train station and Asylum, you know, that little area back there, kind of near Rivertown. There's so many different places of water that you need to move around, but you're always being heard even when you have dead silence. So I kind of wish they would just up dead silence and maybe add some, a little bit of a water vehicle for us to travel in. That'd be kind of cool. And speaking of vehicles, maybe keep the cop car in all Blackout modes. I think it could, don't take away any other cars, just kind of sprinkle those in every once in a while and keep their power that it has of a rolling sensor dart. But in order to combat the rolling sensor dart, normal people that aren't in the cars, as long as their sirens are activated, I'll be able to see where they are in the mini-map. Maybe not see them like I can as if I have engineer, but maybe I'll be able to see that there's somebody in a cop car on the mini-map. I don't think that's a bad idea. More different ways to travel around, just keep throwing stuff in. And as far as vehicles, I want to talk about the helicopter. If you guys notice that there's a specific height on the helicopter that you have to be where you jump out and your glider activates. If you are a little bit lower, your character will just fall to his death. I think instead of just falling to your death, that maybe you could have like a rope, like you drop on a building or even on a road, and if it's just high enough to where you can't deploy your wingsuit, is that you'll be able to rope drop your team. They'll be able to just drop down from some ropes and be able to fly away, do whatever you want, because not everybody is gonna, maybe some pilots don't want to land the helicopter with their team. They can just drop their team and go instead of landing all the way down and not having to worry about the height. Because right now that's kind of the only issue, is that yeah, you can, it's really cool to just jump out of the helicopter and glide, but there is still a height cap, and it's still pretty high. And just below that, I think maybe just deploy some ropes and let the characters just drop from those ropes. They're still you're still prone from moving and all that. If you're moving at a high pace and your character goes below the ropes, it's basically just going to be activated once your helicopter is still enough and low enough, and your team can drop. I think that'd be really cool. And maybe with more vehicles, maybe the Hot Pursuit boat should be included as well. The boat is really slow, but the gun is really OP. Now, at this moment, there's not a lot of things to, combat different vehicles, but I think that boat is so much fun to use. Just keep it within the game. The more fun stuff there is to use that's just outside of limited time modes, and you just put it in the regular mode, the more we're going to play those regular modes. And we're going to be more excited about the LTMs, because LTMs are basically like a test server. Think about the things that work in the LTMs and see how you can transition to them within the normal games. We have the SUVs and we have the muscle cars. Just give us, maybe a few of those perks that go along with it. But besides the zip lines, maybe the underwater scuba equipment for moving around, or even the helicopter, what if you were carrying a rocket launcher, not even a rocket launcher, if you were just carrying rockets, what if you got into a helicopter and you could now take whatever rockets that you've acquired and you can use those on the helicopter? You can lock on, that's the only way you can fire, is to lock on to people that are in vehicles and so forth. And if you only have 3 rockets on you, you only have 3 rockets to shoot out of the helicopter. I don't think it'll be a huge game changer. I think it'll still make the game fair. I mean, it kind of stinks for anybody who's in a solo game. I want to be able to get into a solo game and shoot at people and not have to change 5 different seats. I think it'd be neat to have some sort of gun, and I think that would be a nice little equivalent. Instead of having like a machine gun, it's just have a rocket launcher, and whatever rockets you've picked up for a rocket launcher are the amount of rockets you are allowed to use within that rocket. You don't need that helicopter rocket launcher. But we've talked about some vehicles. What are some other things we can get into? And I think one of the bigger ones is maybe add Alcatraz to the actual map. And I think this will work. When you put Alcatraz somewhere on the map, yeah, it'll have to be on the outside of the map. But if we increase the more different ways you can get around the map, I think the more we will land on the outside of the map. Do you know what I'm saying? I think we'll start landing at Hydro Dam more. We'll start landing at cargo, at construction, all these other places a lot more, because we'll be able to move around a lot more. And that's what Alcatraz will be the most fun. I honestly think Alcatraz at its core will be a great addition to the map. But not only Alcatraz, let's add some other things too. And it's okay if they're on the outside of the map, as long as they give us more ways to travel, like I said. But what's another one we could talk about? I think they would be a fun game mode, a limited time mode, if it was like a jungle themed map. And it doesn't have to be gigantic, but I think it would be gigantic enough if it was like bowl shaped, just like a giant bowl shaped, an indentation map, and it was just really rainforesty, and everybody had ghillie suits, and it was snipers only and like silenced pistols, or maybe just snipers only. And the goal is not to get as many kills, it's just to stay alive, and there could be a huge reward at the end. But basically, you're in these ghillie suits, and you can hide within trees and within bushes, and you can really bring it down to like a true sniper's like simulation type gameplay, a sniper type gameplay. This kind of brings me back to those old sniper games, but I think a Call of Duty snipers only, because we figured out the bullet drop as far as BR. I think a nice LTM snipers only, it would just be something different. You know, it'd be really stealthy. You try to be as quiet as possible. You would try to hide, you know, in these certain spots. You try to sneak up on people. I think it'd be a great limited time mode, but that one's just a really big idea. It's a really big opinion. I'm just thinking outside the box. This game is getting a little dull for me, and I'm sure it's getting dull for others. Like, there are things that we've been promised and we haven't been got, such as Ambush 2.0, and what about the end-game data it gives you about your previous games, the after-action report, that it was only live for a few days and they took it away. It's gone. Now we're back to the old one again, and it's still showing the wrong, emblems. It's not showing some emblems. It's not showing the right rank. There's just issues. There's a lot of things we're being promised, and it feels like Blackout is just kind of being put on the back burner. But BR is it's such an open canvas, and they can do a lot with it. If you guys have any huge ideas you'd like to put out there, I have a lot more written down, but I think that's all I'm going to talk about for now. Let me know if you guys have ideas. What makes this game fun for you, and what would make it more fun? Please leave a comment. Please like, subscribe. I upload every single day. Guys, it's your boy Carbon. Peace.
We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party, flyer than everybody.
We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party, flyer than everybody. We show up in the party.